And we're back with another video, and this video is going to be slightly, let's call it a clarification video, because someone took advice that I gave and did something to themselves that is tantamount to slamming their private parts in a steel door.
Get my dick in the door! Yeah!
Until they're no longer in existence because of what he did to himself. And I am only hoping that it was not my video or suggestion that I early on in this Dodge Charger exploration mission that I went on came up with and shared with you all, with no intent to send someone down a rabbit hole that this guy went down. And I'm going to share with you because I don't want anyone else to do this. I want to stop you short before you do something bad to yourself. And secondly, on this video, I just simply want to address some comments that have been made by a couple of YouTubers out there. And it seems to be a ongoing theme from the beginning when the Charger came out, where people were saying, well, unless you've driven one, you can't talk about it. You can't have an opinion. But now that has morphed into, well, if you haven't bought and owned one, then you don't have the right or even capability of having an opinion about it that's worth listening to by anyone. That, I believe, is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, and we're going to talk about that a little more in just 1 second. All right, so first things first, let's jump right in and go over to my screen and show you something here. I'm going to beat up on this YouTuber first. This YouTuber, I think he's phenomenal, great, well, underrated, approaching 90,000 subscribers. I like the guy. I think, he's probably not the greatest YouTuber out there, but he's not the worst. But sometimes he says things and assumes people will use their brain and be able to figure out. Maybe don't go to the nth degree with the advice and moderate it a little bit in your own brain and come up with maybe the right answer for yourself. This YouTuber has even made himself available via email at ocmotivator@gmail.com to answer questions and try to help people as often as I possibly can. Oh yes, this YouTuber is me. So let's talk about the video that I did not long ago where I said, negative equity hack. This one right here. And I was just so utterly blown away by the incredibly cheap lease deals that exist out there for the Dodge Charger RT and Scat Packs. Primarily the Scat Packs had the biggest incentives from what I was able to find, as low as $199 a month, even to an extent that I saw them even lower, $149 a month, and some RTs at $29 a month advertised. You can see my other videos where I show these things. And what I figured was, since Dodge is so desperate to sell these things, that this would be the perfect way for people who were $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 upside down on their Charger or Challenger last call cars, where they paid markups and they are screwed. They need to get out of them. And I figured if you got yourself let's say even a $359 a month, which seemed like one of the most prevalent ones out there, YouTubers have been sharing, the $359 a month payment, and you simply financed, let's say you had $20,000 in negative, and you went and took, let's just say, $5,000, and you threw that at the negative, and you had $15,000 you needed to figure out how to get out of, and you were in a, let's say, 5-year loan. You're only a year into that loan. You've got 4 years left on that loan. That's a long time to be sitting in that loan. And let's just say you've got a pretty significant car payment around $1,000 to $1,200 a month. This was the example that I was thinking when I was doing this video, and I guess to an extent, I didn't explain it well enough. So let's just do the math on a $359 payment, okay? $359 payment, and then you have $15,000 negative you need to roll in. They've discounted the car over $20,000, so the bank's going to be totally fine with leasing you that car on that $359 payment for more than what they're asking for the car if you have good credit and you've been current on your current car payments and everything else. And that's a 24-month lease is what I was talking about. 24-month lease. Yes, you could do a 36-month lease, but on a 24-month lease, that means you're in a short burn to get in and out of that car pretty easily. You've got a $359 payment, $15,000 divided by the 24 months is $625. So if you take $625 plus $359, you're looking at a $984 payment. And if you have 2 years, that means you could completely wipe out your negative equity and have a new car, hopefully with the bugs worked out, which turns out they're not, which goes to my other videos. But maybe there's a fix. They're saying there's a fix, but we will see. I don't have any information on that yet to know if that fix stuck. But you would be looking at $984. Now, if you were one of the lucky ones that have been able to find Scat packs for $149, $249, go to the Charger EV Daytona group. You will find people that bought these things for $199, $259. You could get, that means you could, with your negative of, let's say, $10,000 even, you can get this thing for $700, $800 a month. And if you're currently paying, let's say, $1,400 a month on a Hellcat because you paid a markup, and you can get out of it if you were $10,000 or $15,000 upside down, you have an opportunity to get a lower car payment and be out of that thing in 24 months if you were to do it. That was my thought process, and it just made sense in my head that that's a way for people who are struggling with their car payment to go into a lower car payment and end their debt problem who got taken advantage of with markups. The problem is that while I'm thinking in my head, $600, $800, $900 car payment for a couple of years versus a $1,400 car payment, I'm thinking that's not too horrible. Maybe it's a good solution. And I was just thinking out loud when I was going through this. And if it's a 2-year lease, look how fast 2 years goes by. You blink your eyes, you're out from underneath it. The problem is I had this dude, which I'm a subscriber, and I like watching the guy. I've been watching his channel for a while, and I don't have a personal beef with him, but I'm just astonished if you go back and you watch some of his shorts. I'm going to play this real quick clip, and you're going to fall out of your chairs when you hear what he did, what this man did. And look, I get it, to each their own, but we need to use our brains before we get into something like this. Watch this.
I think I got a good deal. If you guys are wondering what the terms were, in case I didn't tell you already, get you guys over here. What we ended up doing was a 36-month lease at $1,744. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is, but I was paying $2,000 a month for my truck. So this is actually less. And in 3 years, I walk away with no debt. None. No debt on this at all. I've got 15,000 miles a year that I can drive with overage is like 50 cents a mile. So you don't want to go over. Again, 36-month lease. And basically the car, without my negative equity, it comes out to about $600 and something, $640, $650 dollars a month. Is it the greatest lease deal out there on one of these? No, probably not. But I want to tell you something else. I've seen lease deals out there for as low as $29 a month with $5,000 down. By the way, I paid $0 down. I did make a prepayment on my first monthly payment, but I didn't put any money down on the lease. The $29 a month ones, I cannot imagine what the depreciation is going to be like in a year or 2 years as these things start accumulating miles. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad. So I'm happy with it, guys.
All right, so let's just break that down. $1,744 a month.
What? What the f?
It looks like he rolled in, one of his other videos said he rolled in about $40,000 into this thing. $1,744 a month. These things were out there going for $149, $199, $359. Okay, so let's just pick the highest one I've seen out there at $359. He says it would lease for $600 and something a month. Those $359 deals were at 24 months, advertised all over the country. So he's saying $600, $650. No. Yes, in California, dealers are trying to do that to me too. I know. I've seen the videos. I've met the people. I know. Go watch Saga Monkey Garage. These things were $359 a month, and there's just no way in hell you're going to pay $600. But he went for the highest possible lease payment at the longest term you should ever go on a lease, but long term at 36 months. But then the point that he said, so he's 3 years away in this thing at $1,744 a month. That's absolutely astonishing. But a point that he made about, yeah, I've seen him out there, $29 a month. Wait a minute. And then he goes into this thing about, could you imagine the depreciation on those things? Wait a minute. The depreciation is the same, whether you buy the thing for $29 a month or buy it for $1,744 a month. Whatever your end residual balance is that you would have to buy it for if you were to keep it is what it is. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the lease, if you're not over your miles, and the car's in good shape, you simply hand it over, or you fix whatever's broken on the car and you pay the overage on the miles, which I don't believe are 50 cents per mile. I think they're like 35 cents per mile. At least that's what two dealers told me. So in the end, this guy's got 3 years at $1,744 a month. And the big question is, well, how in the freaking... So it turns out he traded in his truck, his Dodge pickup truck that he bought, that he was having problems with. If you watch his channel, he was having lots of problems with. If you're a fan of his channel, which I've been watching his channel, that he's had issues with that truck. So if you've had issues with that truck, maybe getting rid of that truck would be better if you did a lemon law. So here's the deal. Ram charged me $750 to tow my broken Rebel to the dealer for repair. We can go down here. My brand new Ram Rebel Hurricane, maybe a lemon, 14 codes and misfires again. I'm just thinking, if you're having these problems, maybe there's a chance you can get a lemon law attorney and save yourself that $40,000. Here's another video of the same truck. This is like lemon law qualifications here. So I'm not a lawyer, but wait a minute. Broke down at 2,500 miles. So many codes and misfires. But here's the deal. How do you end up $40,000 upside down on a 2025 Ram Rebel? Well, you either pay a huge markup or you've rolled negative in from previously owned vehicles. So, look, nice enough guy, but I don't want anyone who watches my channel to think that that was what I wanted you to do, to go get a 36-month lease at the highest possible payment in the world. Now, he was paying $2,000 a month for that Dodge, which is already a humongous, colossal mistake. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. So I want to make sure that none of you fall into that making that huge mistake. I'm like this. Here's where I'm at. If you can get that one of those cheap payments, which is my point of my video, one of those cheap payments like I shared here, meaning the introductory screaming deals, $359, $199, and then you roll in 10, 15, even 20,000, you're still under $1,000 a month. You're still paying less than your Hellcat, and you do a 24-month lease. Then you have a chance, but you've got to be prepared to be broken down on the side of the road. So, and I said all that in that video. I did not say go roll $40,000 in at the highest price lease for 36 months. So I don't think he saw my video. I think he figured this out himself, and at the end of the 3 years, yes, he'll be out of debt. But in the meantime, he's paying $1,744 a month on a car he maybe could have lemon lawed, and he's going to hand the keys back and have nothing to show for it. So if he paid $2,000 a month, here's the next punchline. If he paid $2,000 a month for the Dodge, I got to show you this. This video is going to go long, but I got to do this. I got to show you this. I'm sorry, folks. And I'm not beating up on this guy. I just want to save you all. Let's go ahead and watch the second video.
I cannot, but that said, have you watched any review videos on the new Dodge Charger? Oh boy, I have. Yeah, apparently they're not notoriously reliable. This truck, I know that I'm shelling out $100,000 and I'm stuck. I'm stuck with this thing, and it's breaking all the time. I can't trust it. I don't rely on it, especially after today, all right? But the difference is, with the lease, I know that I'm out of that in 3 years. It doesn't matter. In 3 years, I walk away, and I'm done. But that said...
All right, so let's break that down real quick. He knows... He's acknowledging that his truck is a nightmare breaking down. Lemon law the truck. Seems pretty freaking simple to me. But instead, he's going to roll all of that negative in, Go to the dealership, let them make a ton of money on that Dodge Charger, which he's acknowledging is not reliable. He knows it's not reliable because he watched videos. That's going to be important in a second. And then he got the Dodge Charger, got rid of the truck, but he leased it, and he says in 3 years he will be out of it, completely out of debt. But here's the deal. If he kept the truck and it continued to be a problem, he could lemon lot and be out of it completely. Okay? Maybe there might be some issues if he rolled some negative from another car into that thing or something, but let's assume he just paid top dollar for that truck, and the dealer's hosing him on trade-in. The thing is at the end of the $100,000 that he pays for that truck in his original $2,000 a month loan, assuming it was a loan, there's no way he could be in a $2,000 a month lease on a truck, but assuming that was a loan, he would have the truck at the end. And let's say the truck was worth $30,000. He would have a $30,000 thing at the end. So unless he was in a lease on that truck too, which would be astonishing if he had to roll that much over on a lease, he should have just stayed in that truck because he'd be out of it, quote unquote. So he had to have had a loan. But at the end now, he's going to have nothing. He's going to pay a few $100s less a month, according to his guesstimation on, or what he shared on his payment on his truck versus the Charger. But he's going to come out the other end with nothing, like nothing. Yeah, you're going to be out of debt, but you'd be out of debt if you pay the truck off, but at least you have the damn truck. But now you're going to have nothing. So folks, this is not what I'm trying to teach you here. It's not what I tried to do in my video. And the next thing I wanted to share was just that on his channel and on, I believe on this video, not round 2, but the first video, let's go and check it out. Great video, makes you not want to buy one of these things. 700-mile road trip in an electric Dodge Charger. This is not the second video, it's the first video. Great video, him and his buddy cruising across the country, pulling their hair out, dealing with charging problems. But I believe it was this video where he spent a bunch of time, might have been one other one too, but anyway, spent an extraordinary amount of time talking trash about the YouTubers, like, I have to take this personally, myself and TK and Butter and others who have been bashing the Charger, that we don't have a right. We don't have a right to have that conversation about the Charger because, frankly, we haven't. No, it was this one. I'm sorry, folks. It was this video. Dodge wants my 2024 electric Scat Pack back. By the way, they didn't. But in this video, he made a long diatribe about how we should not have any opinions because we didn't have the guts to go out and buy one.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
I would tell you that it's not guts, okay? Well, I don't need to go buy one of these things, even though, believe me, I would love to because he's getting views on them, and I could pay for that thing, but I wouldn't roll in $40,000 and do a 3-year lease at $1,744 a month, but I don't need to have one to know it's a piece of crap. But he makes a big point. So does Mod to Fame, who's another channel I follow and I appreciate, and I enjoy his content. Always have. So not bashing him. Just like Auto Auction Rebuilds. I enjoy his content. No beef with the guy. But some real stupidity took place here. It just is what it is. And Mod to Fame is pushing the hell out of this thing, saying the same thing. You guys can't talk trash because you haven't bought one and walked in our shoes. By the way, go check out TK's video where he was a little, just slightly more raw than I am, but addressed it very directly, that point. But I want to drive this point home with you all when it comes to this point. I don't need to own one. I don't need to necessarily even drive one. I have eyes, I have ears, and I have the ability to use cognitive reasoning to read reviews, to read things like, wait a minute, like this right here, which was my thumbnail. 11 days, 509 miles, the amount it took for me to get a brick. Service electrical system. Anyone have any luck getting out of their lease? This is a man living in massive regret having bought one of these things. Now, if I'm a consumer and I'm thinking about purchasing one, I would like to know that this is the risk I'm taking and I don't need to hear it from somebody who's actually experiencing it. Having me as the middleman is perfectly fair. Having TK as a middleman, let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Reading, this guy has issues with charging his car. Others complaining about their car. How about this one? Wait a minute, there was another. Oh no, there's one over here. Right here. This guy says, I had to run a last minute on Daytona owners. Run a last minute errand yesterday and the battery was at 30%. During the course of my outing, I got down to 25% and it went into slow and turbo mode. I lost all ability to accelerate and the vehicle did it on its own in an effort to consume battery. I understand the thought process behind it, but it took more than 10 seconds to accelerate to the speed limit, which is a big hazard when I'm merging onto highways to get a charge. I'll be more mindful next time and not let it go so low. But is there a way to override this? Well, here's the deal. Dodge cares. God bless them for jumping in. Now, they're pretty clear. This is not supposed to happen. There's a problem. And everybody else is saying, yeah, that should not happen. You got a problem with your car. It's got some kind of fault. You need to get that thing into the shop. That is not something I would want my wife or daughter being stuck on the freeway. And one thought I had when I thought about buying one of these things and have kicked it around on and off as a fun social experiment to see how a middle-aged man deals with stress being stuck on the side of the road all the time in his first EV ever. I in reading these things, I'm pretty sure that I would be pretty upset and pissed off quite a bit. But what scares me the most is that just simply reading these things, they're enough to make me think I would not want my beautiful wife or my beautiful daughter driving down the street, borrowing the car, jumping on the highway, heading to the beach one day, and then going into turtle mode, and then decelerating on the highway with cars flying up behind them. I wouldn't want that happening. I wouldn't want it to brick in the middle of a grocery store parking lot when they go shopping and they're carrying their bags of fine goods to the car and the car won't go anywhere and they're stuck and they can't get home without getting a tow truck. I would rather not take that chance. So I read reviews, I watch videos, and then I come up and deduce with my brain, God gave me, that this car is a colossal piece of shit. So for that reason, if I was to buy one, it would be for the experimental reasoning and the entertainment purposes that it would provide. Nothing else. I certainly wouldn't use it as a debt consolidation vehicle to the tune of $1,744 a month. So to Mod to Fame, awesome channel, love it. Followed you for years. Auto Auction Rebuilds, great channel. A lot of good content. Sorry, guys. I think people could take my word for it. Because what's happening with you is you're not telling them the truth. Because I believe, and maybe you are, maybe there's some truth peppered in, but there's also some clouded judgment. Clouded judgment meaning you bought something that, at least for sure, Auto Auctions Rebuilds, bought something for a purpose no one else would use it for, which is to bury $40,000 into it. And you need to be able to justify that decision somewhere to someone in your life, and certainly you're trying to justify it to us. But I will tell you, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that it's a great car that you say it is. I appreciate that you say it's not a muscle car, but it's not the great car you say it is. It is a touring car, and if it worked perfectly, it still would be underpowered compared to a Tesla Model 3 Performance. It can't do a burnout, let's be clear, and it's a Dodge muscle car, they said. And charging sucks. Charging is a problem because range is not great. So let's just be honest with each other that your input is definitely of value because you're actually experiencing it. But I think you're clouded. I think you're compromised a little because you're stuck in that thing for 3 years and you need to find something about it that you like. Because if you went into a full point of misery owning that thing at that kind of payment, I don't know if there's enough therapy out there to help you get through that. So with that, everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Sorry this video went a little long, but figured I'd post it to save people from stepping in it like this guy did. And in the end, I really, really am here to help people make better decisions, good decisions. Feel free to email me. And please subscribe because we are almost to 90,000 subscribers. and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.